Okay guys, so today I'm going to be reacting to why can't Squidward escape his job.
Not in a way that feels satisfying. In fact, more like stale bread and old butter. Everyone knows that Squidward absolutely hates his job. Day after day, he sits behind the dirty cash register with an absolutely vile look on his face, wishing he were anywhere else in the world. And honestly, who can blame him? I mean, he makes next to nothing, receives zero respect from his boss, and spends his time dealing with constant annoyances from SpongeBob. But despite all this, Squidward still shows up, punches in, and does his part.
About their life.
In fact, he works harder than most employees would in a situation. Harder than anyone except SpongeBob.
He just has to do it.
The big question remains.
But why?
Why doesn't Squidward just quit? After all, if he hates his job this much, why doesn't he just hang up the hat, walk out the door, and never look back? To help understand why Squidward can't truly escape his job, we're gonna look at all of the times he ever quit to see what motivated it. And as we progress through the video, it's going to get exponentially more clear why he can't quit his job. One of the clearest examples comes from the episode Big Pink Loser. In it, Squidward finally does what so many fans think he should have done years ago. He hands over his hat to Patrick, who had just been hired at the Krusty Krab, and walks right out the door. What's surprising here is Squidward's reaction. For once, he seems genuinely happy to be free out of the register, free of SpongeBob's endless yap sessions, and free of Mr. Krabs' greedy demands. For a moment, he looks like he's genuinely relieved, ready to move on from the grind that's defined his life so much.
Squidward, guess who just got a job?
Guess who just quit?
Do I get my award yet?
You have to work for it, remember?
Tartar sauce.
But later on in the episode,
Tartar
we see
sauce.
Squidward rejoin the Krusty Krab almost immediately after SpongeBob and Patrick walk out of the restaurant. And when I say immediately, I mean it. He just went right back in the moment they step out the door. And he's already back behind the cash register like nothing ever happened. What makes it even more confusing is that just before they left, we see him holding and reading a newspaper, which could suggest that he was at least thinking about other job opportunities. It's like, for a second, he was considering leaving, but then gave up and went right back. He also says it's quote-unquote safe to go back inside once SpongeBob and Patrick finally leave, which shows that his decision to walk out wasn't really about quitting the job itself, but more about avoiding them. Basically, he only quit because Patrick was there, not because of the Krusty Krab or Mr. Krabs. Another time that Squidward actually quits his job is in the episode Bossy Boots, where Pearl takes him over to the Krusty Krab and makes a lot of changes that Squidward just can't deal with. The girly look of the restaurant, along with the uniforms, just drive him absolutely crazy, so he ends up quitting right there and then. The part we never get an answer for is where we actually see him get rehired during the episode. It just skips over that part entirely, but since Pearl eventually gets fired, it's safe to assume that Squidward probably returned soon after. We also see Squidward quit in the episode Krusty Towers, where Mr. Krabs turns the Krusty Krab into a hotel. Squidward decides to quit his job
Why
so
do you
he
do
can
that?
check in as a guest and get treated the way he thinks he deserves for once, making this one of the only times where he actually quits with a clear plan in mind. Once again though, the episode never actually shows him getting rehired. It just leaves that part out. But since the Krusty Towers eventually goes back to being the Krusty Krab, he most likely got rehired. We also see Squidward quit his job in the episode The Play's the Thing, where he truly believes that this is his final chance to become famous. For a moment, he thinks he's about to escape the Krusty Krab and actually follow his dreams of performing. But oh no, Squidward.
I sent him my plan.
Bro is delusional if he thinks that's ever gonna happen.
I quit. So long, losers. We announce we will not be doing your play.
One of the most important examples of Squidward quitting his job is in the episode Can You Spare a Dime?, where Squidward is accused of stealing one of Mr. Krabs' dimes. Because of this, Squidward decides to quit his job. And as the episode goes on, we learn that Squidward couldn't find a job and actually becomes homeless. SpongeBob let him into his house, but Squidward ended up taking advantage of him. This drove SpongeBob absolutely insane, which forced Mr. Krabs to give Squidward his job back. So in all the episodes, Squidward quit his job, only to come right back. But why? The only reason Squidward was able to come back is because he had quit his job instead of getting fired. If he got fired, he wouldn't have been able to come back, and would have been forced to look for a new job. The only time Squidward was fired was in the episode Squid on Strike, where him and SpongeBob were fired for planning to go on strike. After being fired, they decided to strike after a ton of protesting. Mr. Krabs gives them their jobs back, but while discussing the terms, SpongeBob ended up destroying the Krusty Krab. And after, Mr. Krabs declared that they would be working for him forever. And that is one of the reasons why Squidward can't quit, because he is being forced to work for Mr. Krabs forever, is what I would say if there weren't two things. One, because in the season 9 episode SpongeBob You're Fired, Mr. Krabs fired SpongeBob. The second and even bigger reason is that Squidward had quit his job a ton of times after that episode, without Mr. Krabs really saying anything, proving that Mr. Krabs either doesn't care about what he said, or that wasn't canon. Both of these put down the claim that they would have to work for Mr. Krabs forever. But why can't Squidward find a job? Why is he being forced to work at the Krusty Krab forever? Well, in the episode Goodbye Krabby Patty, we actually get a solid answer to this, because in the episode, we see Squidward state that 17 years as a cashier is not good enough.
More than 17 years behind a cash register to be qualified for dreams.
Well, this doesn't add up at all when you really think about it. My boy SpongeBob, who wasn't even born yet when Squidward had already been working at the Krusty Krab, managed to get a brand new job almost instantly after being fired. And not just one job either. SpongeBob has been shown getting hired at multiple different places almost without any effort. Like, it's second nature to him. But why is it that SpongeBob, who can do the exact same things as Squidward, and Squidward, who can technically do the same things as SpongeBob, don't have the same outcome? SpongeBob gets a job almost instantly, yet Squidward never seems to get a chance. What on earth is wrong with him?
Could it be
Is
the
he not even
attitude?
putting a finger on a job app?
Bro has like a grumpy attitude, where SpongeBob, on the other hand, is all like, yeah, it's annoying, but kind of happy all the time
Or is he
at the
purposely
same time.
avoiding trying because he secretly wants to stay in the Krusty Krab despite hating it? Or is SpongeBob just absolutely goated? I don't know. But a good example
I
of
feel
an
like
episode
it's
where
something to
Squidward
do with him
does
being
actually
grumpy.
try to get a new job is in
Right.
the episode
That could
Squid
be
on
wrong.
Strike, where at first he finally, for once, does something about it. He leaves the Krusty Krab with SpongeBob and protests against Mr. Krabs. For a moment, it looks like he's done, like he's finally free. But then he realizes that striking means being stuck with SpongeBob forever, and he absolutely does not want that. So what does he do? He goes crawling back to Mr. Krabs, begging for his job back. But not once does he try to find a different job with a better boss, less stress, and most importantly, no SpongeBob. And that's the weird part. Does Squidward actually want to stay at the Krusty Krab? Even if it makes him miserable, he gets paid basically nothing, 23 cents an hour, and he still acts like he can't live without that paycheck. It's like he'd rather sit in the same awful place with the same awful boss than try risking something new. Maybe it's easier for him to deal with the misery he knows than the unknown of something different. Mr. Krabs even uses this against him. In the episode Whale Watch, he threatens Squidward with SpongeBob to get him to babysit Pearl. And it works. Squidward hates SpongeBob so much that just the thought of being sick is enough to make him give in. And that's how stuck he really is. He knows he hates the Krusty Krab, but for whatever reason, he keeps coming back. Almost like he's trapping himself there on purpose. So if Squidward despises his job, why would he keep a job he desperately hates with every drop of sweat he produces while working there? Well, the only reason he would do this is out of desperation to not go homeless. Or is it? Well, what really makes us question this is in the season 2 episode Squidville, where Squidward moves to a gated off community that's only for squids to get away from his worst two enemies, Patrick and SpongeBob. The only problem is we see a 14-day montage of him living life, but not once does he work at a job. Well, how is he making money then? Well, he might have savings, cause how else could he possibly be making money without a job? On top of that, he misses the chaos caused by SpongeBob and Patrick, meaning that he hasn't seen them since he moved in, crossing out the idea that his job simply wasn't in the montage. And it's not like he just starved on the way, because he also bought canned bread, proving the idea that he had some kind of money. Another thing to prove that he had savings is that he didn't go homeless. This doesn't really answer the question of why the Krusty Krab. He has savings, so it's clearly not out of desperation. Well, in the episode Goodbye Krabby Patty is an episode showing Squidward quitting his job, but running right back for his job, saying that 17 hours behind a cash register isn't enough. But we already know this isn't true, when SpongeBob instantly gets hired at a ton of new places with very little experience at all. One of those places SpongeBob works at when he gets fired is the fancy restaurant where we see SpongeBob get traded for a gourmet chef in return. But why would Mr. Krabs trade SpongeBob? Arguably, wait, no, not even arguably, clearly his most loyal worker, instead of Squidward? And yes, I know it's a chef exchange program. As we can see, Squidward can cook just as well as SpongeBob when he actually puts in effort, but he's nowhere near as dedicated or loyal. In the very same episode, SpongeBob literally fights for his life just because Squidward managed to get Employee of the Month for a single time out of the 374 times that SpongeBob has earned it. That kind of loyalty and determination shows the huge difference between them. And it makes you wonder, does Mr. Krabs maybe need Squidward? I mean, why else would he need him if SpongeBob is so much more loyal than Squidward? Well, Squidward was most likely Mr. Krabs' first employee, working there even before SpongeBob and Jim, who was the first fry cook. But absolutely none of this explains why Mr. Krabs would need Squidward. Now, a good explanation for this is either that Squidward helped create the secret formula, or he's the reason for the Krusty Krab being successful in the first place. I mean, Squidward has made the Krabby Patty plenty of times. Surely, he has to know the formula, right? Well, surprisingly, he doesn't. You see this in the episode Sweet and Sour Squid, where Plankton tries his absolute hardest to get the formula from Squidward. But by the end of the episode, Squidward just blurts out the fact that he doesn't even know the formula.
What do they put in one of those Krabby Patties anyway? Oh, I don't work the grill. I work the register.
So that crosses out that possibility. But we still have the possibility that Mr. Krabs needs Squidward because of his good doings for the restaurant. I mean, in the SpongeBob movie, Squidward is crowned the manager of the Krusty Krab instead of SpongeBob, where he just goes absolutely bonkers about not being the manager. This creates a possibility that when Mr. Krabs retires, he wants to give the restaurant to Squidward. Though this gets all thrown out the window. I mean, completely thrown out the window, when SpongeBob is later handed over the job like it's nothing. I mean, come on, Mr. Krabs. But this isn't even close to the biggest reason that Squidward can't ever get ownership of the restaurant, or even be treated like he's somewhat important. The truth is, Mr. Krabs gives Squidward absolutely no respect at all, and that really goes to show that Mr. Krabs does not see Squidward as a partner, or even as a valued employee whatsoever. He sees him as nothing more than a tool, someone to keep the front of the restaurant running while SpongeBob does the cooking. Mr. Krabs uses Squidward only for work purposes, never acknowledging his years of service or any effort that he puts in. I mean, take the season 8 episode, Chum Fricassee. For example, Mr. Krabs straight up disrespects Squidward like it's nothing. He literally insults him and doesn't even try to hide how little he cares. It's moments like this that make it clear Squidward could never rise up or own the place, no matter how long he's working there. To Mr. Krabs, Squidward is replaceable, but also way too convenient to actually let go. So if all of that gets crossed out, we're out of ideas, right? Well, there's one singular, tiny thing that is put on a simple piece of paper that we haven't looked into yet, which is Squidward's paycheck. Because like we said earlier, Mr. Krabs can get away with paying Squidward next to nothing, making nothing but $600 a year, working 40 hours a week. Compared to SpongeBob, that's pennies, as we clearly see in the episode Squeaky Boots, where Mr. Krabs gives SpongeBob a stack of cash for his paycheck.
Here's your paycheck, I owe ya. Plus a bonus.
Now, Mr. Krabs does end up taking away that bonus for vacation, but that's still a stack of cash, probably $10 bills, being that SpongeBob makes a lot more than Squidward does. And I would like to point out that in the episode SpongeBob You're Fired, SpongeBob does state that he gets paid 5 cents a day, making him earn $18.25 a year. But this is more than likely not canon, and the stack of cash scene most likely was, as seasons 1 through 3 were the most canonical seasons in the show, which is the season that the stack of cash takes place. Now, some proof that Mr. Krabs doesn't only fire Squidward because of his paycheck are in the episodes like Can You Spare a Dime, where even after Squidward steals a dime, Mr. Krabs doesn't fire him because he knows that a dime is not worth having to hire someone that would get paid way more than Squidward. Another example is in the episode Krusty Carniceries, where Mr. Krabs doesn't let Squidward die so that he can make him work tonight. And one of the most important examples is in the episode The Original Fry Cook, where Squidward doesn't mind getting paid very little because he's just waiting for his music to blow up.
No thanks. I'm just doing this until my clarinet career takes off.
Now, as seen later in the episode, we see Jim ask for a raise and get laughed at by Krabs, which is where Jim quits. If Squidward actually had the balls to quit and stay out of the Krusty Krab, he could have had a future like Jim. Sadly, he's not anywhere near as brave or as talented as Jim. For this reason, Squidward is the perfect target for Mr. Krabs to sabotage, control, and exploit. Well, it's very clear why Mr. Krabs wants Squidward, but we all know Squidward doesn't want to be at the Krusty Krab at all. I mean, we all know that Squidward wants one thing, a career with his clarinet. However, he's clearly not successful at this at all, so he only has one person to blame, himself, right? Well, is he really the right person to blame? Well, absolutely not, because in episodes like Suction Cup Symphony, Best Day Ever, Band Geeks, and The Patty Caper, Squidward actually succeeds in his dreams of being a famous artist. Does that mean that Squidward is actually talented? Well, unfortunately not, because in episodes like I Heart Dancing, Are You Happy Now, and You Snooze You Lose, he shows no talent whatsoever. But in one interesting episode, Best Day Ever, we might see something that explains everything. You see, in this episode, Squidward actually heavily succeeds in his clarinet career, but Patrick ends up making fun of Squidward for not knowing how to play the clarinet, despite Squidward actually playing fairly decently.
Don't let those sour notes bring you down.
So what if people hate Squidward because he's simply Squidward and not because of his music? Well, we get to see more of this in episodes Slimy Dancing and Squidwood, where Squidward does something and everyone hates it, but SpongeBob replicates the exact actions and gets praised for it. They hate everything Squidward does because he's Squidward. This would explain the outro for a ton of reasons, like Suction Cup Symphony, Artist Unknown, and Geeks, and of course, Best Day Ever. They all show Squidward massively succeeding in the artist industry, but nothing, not $1 comes out of it, because, well, he's Squidward. Nothing will ever turn out well for him. But there might be one more reason behind all of this. Something causing Squidward to never succeed. Something pulling the strings from the very start. The mastermind behind it all. The one controlling Squidward's fate is none other than Mr. Krabs himself.
Oh.
Think about it. We already know Mr. Krabs
I was gonna
thrives
say
on exploiting
SpongeBob.
Squidward. And to exploit someone means you'll never, in a million years, allow them to succeed in anything outside of what benefits you. Sounds like Mr. Krabs is controlling Squidward, doesn't it? For Squidward, that means he'll have to be chained to the Krusty Krab forever. Every time he shows even a little bit of ambition, something always happens that'll pull him back. And who benefits the most from that? Mr. Krabs. By keeping Squidward trapped, Mr. Krabs ensures a reliable worker who he can pay almost nothing, disrespect, and manipulate, while making sure Squidward never achieves real happiness or success anywhere else. Do you still remember this clip?
I sent him my play and now he's gonna produce it. I quit. So long, losers, for that we announce we will not be doing your play.
I mean, he would go out of his way to explode Squidward's career, just for him to stay. Well, unsurprisingly, yes.
If you two do find that clarinet, could you bring it to me so I can smash it to pieces?
This goes to show in the episode The Play's the Thing, where Mr. Krabs commercializes the hate towards Squidward after people throw things at him for his performance. Not just that, in the episode The Masterpiece, Mr. Krabs makes Squidward build a whole entire statue for him him without telling him what it's going to be used for. By the end of the episode, Mr. Krabs just switches up and doesn't display the statue that Squidward made, making it a lot harder for Squidward to get recognition for his work. But by far the biggest example of this is in the episode Hello Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob and Squidward get recognized as a musical duo by Knoll Carper, who is a band manager. This finally launches their dreams of being rich and famous. But guess who sabotages them?
Mr.
Eugene
Krabs.
Harold Krabs. Yup, this was Squidward's first and last chance to make it big. But right in the middle of them becoming a star, Mr. Krabs takes over as manager and ruins not only his chances of becoming rich, but SpongeBob and Squidward's chances too, just so that they could keep working for him. This is where it all leads to our answer. Mr. Krabs exploits and controls Squidward, sabotaging every piece of fame he gets, making it impossible for Squidward to create a successful music career. And Squidward can't leave the Krusty Krab if his music career never takes off. Mr. Krabs has also made sure that Squidward cannot and will not, under any circumstances, put him in a cycle where, until he dies, he keeps quitting his job, hoping he gets big. He fails in the music industry, can't get another job because of his reputation, and is run into the ground by Mr. Krabs, making everyone hate him for who he is. And he never comes back to the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs knows he can't leave, so he exploits his services for the longest he can. The cycle repeats and will never stop, because no matter what Squidward does, he will never be famous. Until he gets another job, he will be forced to make next to nothing with his two greatest enemies, until he dies. This also explains why Squidward is sometimes happy about being fired, because he just needs that one little push for him to build up the courage and walk away. Mr. Krabs has, whether intentionally or not, positioned himself as the barrier between Squidward and any hope of success. Every time Squidward reaches for something better, whether it's an art show or concert, Mr. Krabs is there to pull him back down and exploit him further. It almost feels like Mr. Krabs has made it his life mission to ensure that Squidward never escapes the cycle of continuous failure. After all, if Squidward were actually to succeed, he might leave the Krusty Krab for good. But we know that wouldn't happen with Mr. Krabs there to sabotage it. This ties us back to the story of Jim, the fry cook who worked under Mr. Krabs before SpongeBob. Jim became successful, moved on, and never looked back. That loss must have stung Krabs deeply, not just financially, but personally. His greatest worker, proving that life beyond the Krusty Krab was not only possible, but better. Perhaps Krabs has learned his lesson. Never ever allow another employee to get that close to reaching their true potential. And Squidward, with his artistic dreams and need for fame, represents the perfect target for this kind of subtle sabotage. It's depressing to think about, because the show often hints that Squidward does have talent and intelligence buried beneath his bitterness. But Mr. Krabs' greed ensures that any glimpse of success Squidward finds is redirected back towards the same greasy grill and dirty cash register. This creates a loop where Squidward, despite hating his job, has no choice but to keep returning. The saddest part is that we might never know if Squidward could have made it big. The show never depicts Squidward's future, or him being famous, or being stuck at the Krusty Krab forever, is what I would say if the episode PL1413 didn't exist. In this episode, Plankton travels 2,000 years into the future. As he explores what the world has become, Karen fills him in on the history of certain characters, including Squidward. And what she reveals is honestly just straight up sad. She explains that Squidward did in fact end up becoming famous, just like he's always dreamed of. But there's a catch. His recognition and fame only came after his passing. That means throughout his entire life, Squidward never got to experience the success, respect, or admiration he'd always wanted so badly.
They had to die
But
first.
instead, he spent the rest of his life stuck at the Krusty Krab, suffering under Mr. Krabs' exploitation. This shows that no matter how much talent he had, or how hard he tried to get away, he remained trapped in the same cycle of misery. It's pretty sad, because while Squidward was chasing his passion his whole life, he never once got to live what he wanted. All because of one man, Eugene Harold Krabs. Subscribe, or this will happen to you.
Damn. Anyways, guys, this is gonna be the end of the video.